Game number 2 of today's Forge of Champions broadcast is upon us. We are going to be seeing Bulldog Esports going up against Enclave. I am Stanley Greyheart Barker. I'm joined by Rick Saga Sharples. Were you impressed by Degree Sports or Envision in that last game?
Listen, I'm impressed by the mentality because I sent Max a message. I was like, damn, dude, bummer. And he was like, don't worry. It happens. We'll get him next time. So he's not phased. You know, he saw enough light at the end of the tunnel, so he thinks, you know what, promotion tournament, not too far away. We'll get him then.
Well, that is the opportunity for Degree Sports. However, their shot in the main Forge of Champions draw is now gone. However, 2 teams who still have that opportunity, and we're going to have an opportunity to look at the rosters of Bulldog Esports and Enclave Gaming.
Yeah, things have definitely been interesting with this matchup as Enclave has been switching things up a little bit. Bulldog as well made their way out of UKLC, as you mentioned before, and have come straight back into it, looking particularly strong at Insomnia, and brought themselves this new roster to do so.
So let's take a little look at the Prince of Top Lane's team that he is bringing to the party. In the top lane, we are going to see that man, Ego Speed. I believe that in the jungle, we've got Yike. In mid lane, it's Eternity. Gold is going to be ready to see Seb as support.
Yeah, and that is a roster that has definitely had a lot of success for themselves. And up against them will be a team who is no slouches whatsoever. With Rengis back in the top lane, Akabane, a new face in the jungle, Beely in mid lane, Kevo and Raisins. Familiar faces in support.
Yeah, a lot of names that we recognize there from UKLC and from other regions as well. It's going to be a really tightly contested one, this. I honestly am not entirely sure which way it's going to go myself. However, I've listened to the predictions that you and the rest of the team have made, and you went for?
I went for Enclave with 2-0. They dropped their jungler of Scoot, so we saw him go out in the retirement home earlier on in the tournament. They've picked up Akabane. So this guy, again, is no stranger to the competitive scene. He's brand new to the UK scene, but he's played on 3 different teams in Italy, where he played support, AD carry, and then he played mid. Then he went to Turkey and played top lane on a team there. So now he's finishing off the roster with a jungle performance on Enclave in the mid lane for this Forge of Champions split.
So you've gone for Enclave. I believe Hip Brain has gone for Enclave. Crucially, however, I'm sorry to tell you,
Orcs has gone for Enclave.
Orcs has gone for Enclave, and that is why I will be going for Bulldog Esports in a 2-1 win.
See, this is not fair because you know what they've gone for when you make your predictions. So that's kind of like the games have already happened and you've predicted afterwards.
No such thing.
That's
as
like
fair
me
in
saying,
League
you
of
know what?
Legends.
I actually don't think Degree Sports is going to win.
Well, you're right. Well done.
Wow.
Good job, dude.
Stanley Barker here.
Well, Bulldog Esports are going to lead us off in this draft with a ban of Fresh. No opportunity for Raisins to pick this one up. Kiana is the return ban.
Yeah, definitely no stranger to the bans column. We've seen it quite often, actually. And we've been taking away a lot of the mids favoring the sort of AD aggressive picks. And there's a lot of focus actually being put towards Raisins in the bottom lane. He has been a standout player so far on Enclave throughout the UK LC split just gone by. So definitely going to be targeting him around and making sure that Gould and Seb have a nice, comfortable performance in the bottom lane.
Yeah, there's a lot of players here, well, especially for Enclave, but also slightly for Bulldog, who I've seen playing in the Insomnia tournaments over the last couple of splits. We had Enclave, who were the runners-up in the April Insomnia, which I believe was Insomnia 64. Bulldog we saw in the final of Insomnia 65, which is how they managed to get themselves here to the Forge of Champions. Opportunities are obviously always there for people. If you go out and you perform well in those games, then you get the chance to play here at the Forge of Champions, which is wonderful. However, the name that I'm really drawn to is at the top of the screen. Looking at Wise Traveler, this is someone who has had, a history in terms of kind of growing up alongside Ego Speed, seeing him play. He's now coaching a team that's going up against him, trying to dent his dreams of redemption.
Oh man, that is a rough time to be going up against a good friend of yours who is trying their best to prove themselves, and you have to smack them down into the dirt. But he's got a good roster to do so. Beely has been a really good performer as well for Enclave throughout the split. So there's been no bans focused towards the mid lane other than the Kiana. So they have kind of pick of the crop of really whatever they want. They are on the red side, so they could be saving that counter pick for the solo lanes in the later stages.
Oh, thank you so much, Ego Speed, for the hover of Nocturne, reminding me of what I saw last time around at the Insomnia Grand Final. That, however, was not going to be our first lock in here. Instead, we're seeing the Xayah for gold.
Yeah. Pretty standard stuff. Nice, comfortable, safe pick for just about any AD carry player in the tournament. and it might actually force, they've targeted away a couple of support champions already for Enclave. Will it be enough to force Raisins to pick into the Rakan just to split up that duo, or do they have other ideas? As this Syndra is something, especially in the European scene, that can be flexed around towards the bottom lane as well. We saw Fnatic give it a go at EU Masters with X-Mati playing the tanking supports, Ronaldo on supports.
How did that go?
Great. They made semis.
Well, one thing that is definitely going to happen is that we're not going to see the lock-in of Rakan coming through. Instead, the Lee Sin is going to be there instead. I like to see this personally because it just leaves a little bit of an enigma around Syndra. It means that it could be thrown into the bot lane, like you were just saying.
Spells.
Yeah, I've seen a few too many news running those summoner spells recently in solo queue, unfortunately. I do kind of expect to see the Rakan coming in now with, opportunity for Seb to pick this one up. It would make perfect sense. We'll see whether or not that one gets locked in, and of course, it does.
And they can definitely look to pick something up for Yike as well and leave that mid lane towards the later stages. So we see as these comps start to round out whether that Syndra will in fact be a mid lane or a bottom lane Syndra. Kevo has definitely been a little bit more on the traditional AD carry side of things, but a lot of people have been practicing the mages, seeing it's been popping up in and out of the pro meta. But bot lanes and junglers is a pretty standard thing to lock in for your first rotation.
Well, with the Olaf and the Rek'Sai already banned away from Yike, I think that makes perfect sense to find something he's going to have comfort on. The Gragas is going to be locked in. We saw it paired in the last game with a Yasuo, a couple of the good combos coming through from Degree Sports. Perhaps it'll have more success for Bulldog if they decide to pick it up in this game. Now it turns over to Enclave to see just what they want to secure in the final part of this part of the draft.
Well, they've definitely got options here. When we say flex picks, they've definitely been a huge part of the meta for a long while, and Syndra has typically been matched up with tankier supports in the bottom lane who can lock people down to allow the Syndra just to get that huge amount of burst damage out. And Nautilus is a notoriously strong pick into Rakan because it's difficult to engage on that. As soon as he auto-attacks you, that's a lot of the Rakan engage potential shut down with the root on the anchor auto attack. So it's definitely a strong pick that doesn't actually give away too much of where the Syndra will be going as well.
It makes great sense in my eyes to put the Nautilus up against the Rakan. If you've got something that's so engage heavy, so fast, why not put it against the thing with the most CC in the entire game, League of Legends? Akali is going to be the first ban taken away now as we approach the second phase of battle bans. Looks like we're definitely going to be looking towards some top laners as well as Camille is removed from the pool.
That's interesting because Rengis was the guy that, we've got that clip of the Bear Tree 1v1 where he's flashing out of the Akali. Rengis was that Akali, and yes, it's not great to have someone, like a highlight clip of someone outplaying you, but it was millimeters away from getting that kill. It was only because Bear Tree actually played it so incredibly well. And then Rengis came back and actually got the MVP of that game on the Akali as well. So interesting to see their own team that bans that away that has been such a huge point of success for Rengis in the past.
Yeah, Rengis has had some real standout performances recently. I'm pretty sure that wasn't actually the only MVP that he got through that split. A real great performer for Enclave. They'll be glad to have him up in the top lane. I know there were question marks in terms of whether a sub was being used or not, but it is indeed going to be Rengis going up against Ego Speed, and we're going to get an opportunity to see which champions are going to be up in the top lane very, very shortly. We do see mid lane focus bans coming out of Enclave as the LeBlanc was taken away alongside the Akali, the Lucian removed from Kevo, so that says to me that they don't think this Syndra is going in the bot lane.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if it wasn't, but maybe I'm completely wrong because Orianna, we did see one more light play Orianna yesterday. It didn't have the most impactful performance, but it was never really given the chance to get to the point where those shockwaves really start to have huge impact. And there has been some clips floating around of just instant quadra kills with the new buffed shockwave. So as soon as those items start coming through for Beely, you have the engage potential already on the team. Put that ball on Akabane and Lee Sin, and that can blow some people up. I
mean, we talked about Wise Traveler and Ego Speed's interactions, but actually, Beely and Ego Speed is an interaction that you see pretty commonly on Twitter. These guys like to, shall we say, gently poke fun at each other across the mediums of social media. And, sometimes you love to see it as long as it's all done in good taste. And right now, they get to go up head-to-head on the Rift, and we are going to see the Ornn lock-in. That's going to be for Ego Speed. Zoe is going to be the champion for Eternity.
Okay, so we've seen Ornn already once this tournament, and a lot of it was just all eggs in the Caitlyn basket. You could go for a similar kind of approach with the Xayah, but it's not quite the same siege potential that you would have with the Caitlyn, especially combined with the Morgana as it was so frequently in the first couple of series, but it's slightly different in this one so far.
I'm going to see... honestly, I was literally thinking to myself, I really want to see something split pushy, maybe a Fiora for the Ringis. That is exactly what Ringis is going to have in the top lane. Going to have the Fiora, possibly the best split pusher in the game right now.
Now, yesterday, we saw a Fiora.
We did.
It was blind picked into the mid, and it wasn't great. So hopefully this time, when it's picked as a counter pick to a tank, that is going to struggle a little bit in the split push. We haven't, I mean, last time we saw Rowan, it was kind of winning in the split push for a large amount of the later stages of the game. But against Fiora, if you give her 12 seconds, your towers are done.
Yep, that is going to be the completion of the pick and ban phase. I've just had the little minions in my ear telling me that actually Kiana is a really well-known champion for Yike. So that is actually 3 first-round bans that have been put to take Yike off of a comfort champion. Immediately the Gragas was the pickup after that, and let's see whether or not that plays into Enclave's favor or not, as they were able to get their own new jungler, Akabana, onto the Lee Sin.
Yeah, you definitely want a new face to be on something that's comfortable for them. You don't want to be going for the old TSM route of being like, hey, we've got an aggressive jungle player. You play Kha'Zix? All right, here's Sejuani. Off you go.
Yeah.
So, no, you want to have them on something that they're going to be able to perform on, to be nice and comfortable in the new team environment. And, I mean, Lee Sin is always going to be a flashy champ. So if he's feeling confident enough to bust that out in his first game on this roster,
why not?
Potentially good things ahead.
Okay, well, the drafts are now completed as we go in towards the game. Was there anything that particularly caught your eye that maybe you thought made things more favorable for one team or the other?
I'm interested in, I mean, you've got the Bulldog as their team-wide redemption arc. I'm just interested in the redemption of Fiora in the top lane because she didn't look good yesterday. I'm
was
sorry.
in the mid lane.
I'm sorry, Vero. It didn't look that good, but hopefully we can actually see the strength of Fiora on the new patch, and Orianna as well in the hands of Beely up against Zoe, who is just an incredibly irritating champion to go up against, but Orianna, combine that with the Lee Sin, there is a lot of potential with squishier champions like the Rakan, who's an engage tool, but he's no Nautilus. He doesn't have those resistances, so he can just get popped.
Well, perhaps Fiora wasn't covered in glory the other day. However, if you do want to see something interesting, go on to UK LVP LOL on YouTube and check out the game that had Fiora and go to around about level 6 where there's a mid lane dive and look at the crazy amount of movement speed that the Fiora has. That is one of the things that Fiora is now capable of doing, and this time it's going to be in the slightly more natural top lane up against our man, Ego Speed.
On the actual Forge champion himself. The Forge of Champions, the final game of round 1. Best of 3 series between Enclave and Bulldog, who's should be the other way around at the top of the screen, but that shall be fixed.
Meanwhile, we can see already a little bit of pressure being put down to the jungle of Enclave. They are going to see Akabane, they're going to catch out Akabane, work out exactly where he's going towards. Of course, he could shift things around, perhaps looking towards his blue buff, but I definitely think that we are going to see a red start as Fiora's popped herself into the bush there to help Lee Sin out.
No Olaf's in this game, so no one's going to be potentially 3-buffed. But I mean, there is always the option for it to come through in some early game aggression. Can come in different forms. It can be ganks, it can be invades, could even just be pressuring people away from their own camps. And again, Gragas has been the lock-in that we've seen so often throughout this tournament so far, and the nerfed clear speed has come back to bite him a couple of times. If Akabane does decide to try and go for an aggressive play on the top side of the map, maybe it might be enough to catch Yike out.
Yeah, both the junglers taking their red buffs, immediately going towards the Krugs. We see the smite being used by Yike there. No one's even thinking about their blue buffs just yet. No one really putting any damage down in the lanes either. It's going to be a nice, slow, steady start.
Evo and Raisins. Ooh. Why, hello there.
We have got ourselves that beautiful CPU screen for the first time today. It'll give us a little bit of an opportunity to talk more about what we can see coming into this game. Obviously, at the moment, things, they're slow, they're steady. Which of these two teams is slightly more on the clock in terms of the scaling is really the question I want to ask. I look at that Fiora, I look at the split pushing potential, and I feel scared that maybe there's not going to be anything that Bulldog can do to deal with it. But at the same time, I also look at the other top laner. I look at that Ornn and I go, well, you're going to be giving more items, so if it goes even later, there's potential extra strength for Bulldog. I'm conflicted, Saga.
Yeah, I think the Zyra Khan, there's never a point where you think, that's so weak. It's always going to be relevant, even when you're against a lane like the Syndra and Nautilus, where maybe you're not going to be able to shove them out of lane or at least play for solo kills, but you have the potential that if Yike on the Gragas is able to get involved and maybe try and find a 3 versus 2, you can easily pick up some kills in that lane and then push for the advantage, maybe get some dragon buffs in your favor as well and accelerate the game through the objective gameplay. But At the moment, it's Kevo and Raisins who are shoving in. The one thing that does slightly worry me about the Enclave comp is if it is going to be a split-pushing Rengis on the Fiora, all of the damage dealers are going to be magic damage oriented. So if Ego Speed, when he gets the upgrades on his items, if he builds a lot of magic damage, it might potentially be a worry for them.
Yeah, exactly. Only Akabane is going to come through with any real AD at all. And so if you do see a clever amount of magic resist being picked up by the Bulldog team, then any team fights which it looks like they're more likely to be opting into could be even more so in their favor with, you know, less damage coming through from things like the unleashed power from the shockwave. Meanwhile, however, we've got to slowly build into that phase. We've got to wait quite a while. And we've got to see which jungler can be more impactful in the early game.
You'd be a fool if you didn't expect it to be Lee Sin, but Yike has already cleared his bottom side jungle. Akabane is pretty much mirrored in terms of his actual clear speed here. Does open the opportunity that maybe they can try and find an aggressive dive very early on. Raisins has the aftershock.
Scatter the Weak.
To the Nautilus.
Scatter the Weak does catch on to Gould there. We do see a decent CS lead being built up for Fiora, who's opted into the Kleptomancy, has already got a few pots of gold.
Both junglers putting some pressure towards the mid lane. Akabane should have the easier time of it as Eternity has shoved up on this. Oh, that ward. Come on.
I'm not entirely sure whether Zoe knew Akabane was there or not, but definitely didn't gain any vision through putting the ward down. However, Akabane is going to have the freest of times picking up this Scuttle Crab. However, Gragas, who's already popped over to the opposition red side jungle, finds no camp, instead finds a Scuttle Crab for himself.
It is just kind of splitting the map at this point. Both junglers have not taken anything on their blue side jungle. They'll just head back, clear up those last few camps. They tried to find some sort of aggression towards the mid lane, but well-timed warding from Eternity.
Slow and steady is the way this game is being played. Both of these teams with UK LC experience, not wanting to give anything away to the opposition. Gould is just going to be throwing the feathers down, and Seb is there just accentuating any potential damage that comes down if we do see good feathers connecting onto the opposition bot lane. Enclave, meanwhile, Enclave, I feel like I must be pronouncing it wrong at least half the time because I keep changing every time I say it.
Then that means you're right half of the time, so...
You always were more of a glass half full guy than me, to be fair. I'm more of a glass is broken on the floor because I've been playing Master Yi too much.
You drink way too much whiskey if that's the case, dude.
Whiskey? I drink
milk.
milk.
Gotta slow down.
What are you doing?
Sometimes you have to drown your sorrows when degree sports get smacked around so much.
The last time I saw those guys, they looked so happy. We were all, you know, getting on the plane back from Madrid. They were happy with their performance, and now they're out of Forge of Champions. Oh. Though to be fair, the last time I saw Ego Speed, he was quite upset. So maybe that balances out. Maybe that means he'll win today and feel happier.
Certainly could be a possibility, as nothing has gone a little too far out of hand yet. No real pressure has come down on any of the laners from either of the junglers. Yike does still have a slight experience advantage over Akabane, which is somewhat surprising on the Gragas, and he's picked up the boots as well. So Predator is up and online and available, and we said if he's able to get towards his bottom lane, Zyra Khan can pick up some kills in this lane, as long as he dodges out the vision to try and do so. But another well-placed ward from Kevo should keep every entrance covered.
Yeah, I feel like there was some good information there being given by the bot lane duo of Bulldog just to let Yike not to show over that ward in the tri-bush, deciding instead to complete his recall, getting himself an amplifying tome on top of that chilling smite already. Rengis is taking a considerable amount of damage. He's going to find the core of the Forge God channel. Rengis is actually dropping lower and lower. However, he does have the Grand Challenge available to him. He's not issued it onto Ego Speed just yet, though.
Trying to punish the early use of Riposte. Didn't find anything other than just a little bit of damage from that one. And the Brittle procs from Ornn definitely deal damage. That was a better Riposte, and that should be it.
That's going to be flash from Ego Speed. Here comes the gang, but it's not in time to stop First Blood, and now it's the 1 versus 1. Yike is having to run away from, not quite able to put damage down onto Rengis. This is going to be a level 5 versus level 7, but in the midst of the minions, Yike is able to take down Rengis. A 1-for-1 at the end, but First Blood Gold goes over to Enclave. They're also going to find themselves a Mountain Dragon.
A much better Riposte this time around. Blocks out the knock-up from Ego Speed's Ornn and just instantly drops the Grand Challenge. Pops all 4 vitals. for an easy solo kill. Yike did play it very well, blocking out on the passive Vital, but Eternity's not able to find the steal onto this dragon. Settles for yoinking away a ward, but overall, Enclave comes out slightly ahead in that trade, but not by too much, as Rengis was already stacking up a good lead with the Kleptomancy. Has managed to get his hands on a few bags of gold. He's got about a 500 gold lead, and that's really about the entire team's gold lead at the moment.
Yeah, that is basically just first blood gold coming through, on top of maybe a little bit of the Kleptomancy. Credit to Ego Speed, who's managed to get himself ahead in CS despite the early disadvantage. Meanwhile, Gould is completely caught out. It's stunned down, had to flash away. Has already got the Ignite burning him down. It's going to be Raisins getting a kill. Seb now not with the damage to actually take down Raisins himself. However, he has got Yike coming through in the backside. Will he be able to actually come through, actually take down the Nautilus? The answer is no for now, because Yike hasn't actually entered. He's going to look for the channel. He manages to get the speedy boots, but he's now having to dash away because here comes Lee Sin. Here comes the dredge line. It's going to be a connection. It's going to be a heal as Yike tries to stay alive. He doesn't quite manage it. Beanie manages to pick up a kill as he rotates to make it a 4 versus 2, and that is going to be yet another kill for Enclave.
Cheeky teleport down from Beely with the unsealed Spellbook. Just picks himself up a kill for absolutely free after Raisins secures the first with the Ignite, flashing forward for the final auto attack. Should be a trade of damage back from Eternity, but didn't quite reach. Beely.
The Sleepy Trouble Bubble was good. The Paddle Star, not so much.
Evo didn't have level 6, and then as soon as he did hit level 6, didn't have the mana to actually cast the Unleashed power.
Unleashed power, that's the one.
I was going to say unsealed power, but I was like, no, that's definitely the spell book. But no, he didn't quite have that one available, so Beely picks himself up the kill, so a little bit more power. This is what we mentioned was kind of the issue with the Orianna pick in the previous time we saw it. Never had the chance to scale up to get the items to allow Shockwave to have the impact that we expect from that ability, but much better start now for Beely. Relatively even on farm, hasn't been pressured out too much by Eternity, and now he has got a red buff to show for it as well.
Talk about the unsealed spell, but Beely does have that in his possession in terms of keystones, as he does take a considerable amount of damage through from Eternity. He's currently got the cleanse available as he throws the Shockwave down. He's got those enhanced auto attacks, forces the flash out of Eternity, but here comes Yike. He's already managed to channel the Predator. He's looking for his target, but Akabena is here. He's looking to save Beely, and he's going to do that as easy as you like. A bit of damage comes through from Yike, but it's not even close enough to take down the robot lady.
Surviving the pressure once again as Eternity tried to go for the aggressive play. Ends up with a trade of every single summoner spell in that lane, but again, Beely's got the unsealed spell book, so get that reduced cooldown. Be able to get the cleanse back up, but sooner swap it over to something else.
Kavo now is pushing forward, has got a 20 CS lead over Gould and is looking to pressurize even more. The 2 assists are there. The Scaff of the Week is good, yet again catching on to Seb. The Syndra looking very, very good in this bot lane. Definitely better than it did for Fnatic just a week or so ago. Akabane is hovering around in the bot lane, gets control ward down, knows that there is no information that means that Seb and Gould will know what is going on. Meanwhile, we do see the top lane, Ego Speed and Rengis dueling things out once more. We are going to wait just to see if Ego Speed can go in and get himself a solo kill. Rengis losing a lot of health, running back to the safety of turret.
That's exactly what I meant before when I said that Ornn in the split push is no slouch. He can still scrap with these bruises in the side lanes. That brittle damage is just so damn high. Thankfully, Rengis riposts away from it this time around, but really not having the best of times up in this 1 versus 1.
Well, this is Ego Speed in his return here to Forge of Champions, doing everything that he can to try and make things as strong for his team as he can be. Perhaps, a little bit of, feeling a bit of the blame towards himself for the fact that his team actually got relegated, going back a split or so ago, wanting to come back now to perform stronger than ever. Yes, he is a kill down at the minute to his lane opponent, but he has been performing solidly.
Kevo as well with a big advantage in terms of CS, but a huge collapse towards the top side.
Magic with a Predator, the Grand Challenge already issued by Rengis has looked to take down Ego Speed. The knockup not going to land from the Call of Forge God. Eternity has arrived with the Super Soaker and it's going to pick up the kill.
Yikes.
Ego Speed's going to stay alive. That's perfect timing from Bulldog as they make the 3 versus 1 play out in their favor.
Oh, Ego Speed sent the Call of the Forge God, the Ornn Horn, the Giant Ram in the opposite direction just to make sure that Rengis could not land the stun with the riposte, and then that explosive cask from Yike just after that cooldown went down, just to ensure that Ego Speed could survive and that final vital would not be procced. Eternity picks himself one up there, on a roam up towards the top lane.
However, with Yike just recalling now in the top lane, that does open up the potential for a bot side play from Enclave. They have got a dragon available to them, and Ocean Dragon can be started immediately.
They've already got the shove in. Syndra is still hovering around the bottom lane, just making sure that Gould and Seb aren't going to be able to rotate over. And after the commit of just about every engage tool on the side of Bulldog up in the top lane, means that this dragon pickup should be pretty free, and there won't be a contest. And Akabane still feels confident enough to go and steal away the Raptors. Doesn't really have the deep vision, but he feels relatively safe with his team close enough to him in the mid lane. Already going to push up and try and get some control around Rift Herald. That will be their next major objective.
With a Mountain Dragon, it will go down that little bit quicker as well. The Ocean Dragon just secured by Enclave. There is a second Ocean Dragon coming up in 4.5 minutes time, so even more regen available there. Of course, it's not quite so important as we hit the later game.
It's definitely going to help out, as maybe with the Thornmail components for Ego Speed in the top lane. Rengis forced to build into the Ravenous Hydra already for the split push. That additional bit of shoving pressure.
Yike has seen that this one is going down, has already managed to go in, is looking to see if he can get a bit of damage down. This is going to be quite a close contest, but there are already 4 members of Enclave. They're looking to take down Yike, and that's going to be the stopwatch being used by Yike, keeping himself alive. Akabane is going to get a heal, keeping him alive as Raisins is looking lower and lower. Beely dashed onto by Eternity, but he's got Raisins for company. This is going to be Akabane as the first one to drop in this frantic fight, as Raisins not quite caught out by the paddle star, but Eternity does manage to get the kill eventually. Meanwhile, the Herald has restored full health as the Court of the Forge God goes way past Rengis. We are going to see this one immediately started back up as Enclave lose their opportunity to gain some extra turret plating. Bulldog are going to get themselves this nice objective. However, in the meanwhile, Kavo, consistently pushing out gold, has already taken down 4 of these plates.
We're just trying to turn it around onto Yike to get rid of the opportunity of a steal. Rengis could still try something here, but opts not to. Goes for the safer play. Doesn't want to be giving himself up in a 1 versus 3. Yeah, so it will be the Herald picked up for Yike.
Seb was so low there, it almost felt like it must have been a little bit of a bait. The Herald was secured. However, it doesn't look like first turret blood will be secured for Bulldog, because Enclave are so very, very close to securing that for themselves in the bot lane.
The tower plates have now fallen, so Kevo getting 4 for himself in the bot lane will be about the extent.
Oh, Yike does manage to get caught on. The depth charge is going to be available for Raisins in just a moment or so as Akabane comes through. Beely is going to secure the kill. Yike taken down. Meanwhile, on the top lane, look at Rengis. He forces the flash out of Ego Speed. He dashes forward, still looking for those vitals. Ego Speed gets himself to the safety of his turret.
Akabane just took so much damage from Eternity's little Zoe combo, but kept himself alive just about. Did manage to trade the kill onto Yike, which they weren't able to find around the Rift Herald a second or so earlier. So that is unfortunately still in the hands of Yike. So they still have the opportunity to try and drop that. It would have to be to completely take down the towers. Platings are gone.
Oh, that is a really nice connection there. The dredge line is going to catch on to Gold, but that's a nice immediate Featherstorm as we do see Gold trying to keep safe, trying to keep this turret alive, but here comes Akabane. We do see the depth chart thrown down. Never shown a Featherstorm is available. Scan Weak is going to land straight onto Seb. That's going to be Akabane getting a kill. Not quite getting the first turret because that's going to go down in the top lane of all places as Rengis continues the split pushing, showing exactly what that Fiora can do.
Shreds down the tower as soon as Ego Speed isn't available to try and defend it. And this bottom lane doesn't have long for this world either. Just a couple of auto attacks from Kevo. That's just the one auto attack. Reminds me of a Nexus yesterday. One auto attack and it is completely out of there. And even with no kills picked up for Kevo, he's got himself a 150 gold bounty just in terms of pure gold lead.
Yeah, and that is a really big lead for Rengis up in the top lane as well. He's 1,400 gold already up on in terms of what the Orna's got, getting all the turret plating, getting that first turret.
Beely is behind in gold, but has a bounty.
Makes sense.
Both mid laners are 2-0 now. That's an interesting way for that to work, but probably, sure.
It's probably got something to do with the fact that, I don't know, Beely's roamed more, maybe presence on the map is different, located. I don't know, okay?
Listen, we can't do the maths between which team has more towers taken right now. We aren't getting into that complicated stuff.
Yeah, okay, good point.
We should call Degree Sports, maybe they'll know.
Oh, they might know, actually. Yeah, they've got some time on their hands, right?
A lot of free time.
So we do see that Bulldog, despite having picked up that Herald, do lose out on 2 turrets. They find themselves 3,500 gold behind as we approach 17 minutes.
Ego Speed just sat in the top lane by himself now. The split pushing threat of Rengis has decided to for once to group up with the team. Ego Speed's got TP up and available, but well, now it will just be a complete switch of places as Rengis heads back to the top lane to shove that in. Ego Speed wants to use the Orn Horn to maybe get something started, or might just use it for disengage potential if Raisins gets a little too aggressive. But Kevo,
that just shows you what one paddle star can do.
That's a big chunk.
It is absolutely massive. Something that's slightly less massive, a potential second Ocean Dragon for Enclave, probably will be started up fairly shortly as this siege continues here in the mid lane. Lee Sin has done a great job so far of taking as many objectives as wanted. Going for quite an aggressive build, looking maybe towards maybe the black... Is it going to be the Black Cleaver out of that page?
Sure could be. It's looking like he wants to take the extended fights as well with the Conqueror that he's taken up in the Keystone. So he won't be afraid of sticking around instead of just being a sort of dash in, kick someone, and then dip out kind of Lee Sin. And that's not the Rift Herald he was looking for. No, Kevo just puts a stop to that.
Scatter the Weeks have been so on point from Kevo so far, but it's such a risky thing to do to put that Herald down with the Syndra present. Second Ocean Dragon secured, and the only objective so far in this entire game secured by Bulldog Esports was sadly been wasted.
Yeah, that felt a little bit just like oh, this is about to run out, better drop it. And Kevo just says, nope. Puts that one right back where it came from. Now the push in the mid lane. It's a bit of an ARAM right now. Rengis is breaking the rules by shoving the side lane, but here's the fight.
That's going to be the quickness used by the Drakan. Seb managing to immediately catch onto the Syndra Cave, and no able to use the Scatter the Weak at all because just obliterated by the Zyra and the rest of the squad. Now we see the Sleepy Trouble Bubble catching on onto Raisins, who is going to find himself a massive shockwave on top of him as we see Beely join the fight, trying to put the damage down. However, he himself has a Sleepy Trouble Bubble on top of him. He uses the cleanse, gets himself to save for a moment, but Eternity still continuing the chase, still has Seb with him. Eternity looking to get the damage, forces some kind of barrier out of Beely. I believe that was just the command protect. Eternity still chasing, looking for the Sleepy Troll Bubble, finding the damage. It's going to be a shutdown as Yike manages to get the kill onto the Orianna. All across the board, kills for Bulldog. They now find themselves 8-5. They're still 2,000 gold down, and the split push was continued by Fiora.
Yeah, but that whole time, even though the entire team of Enclave was getting ran down and Rengis is split pushing, they didn't get anything actually out of that because Ego Speed, he started off the fight with the Call of the Forge God and then just went back top lane to deal with Rengis. The rest of his team just ran him down in the 4 versus, 2 at that point after Kevo got blown up. Beely didn't last that much longer as soon as Akabane tried to get involved. The Shockwave doesn't quite have the damage there to turn that kind of situation on its head, and level 1 Lee Sin ultimate didn't do all that much, just gave over a couple of additional kills, and the gold has suddenly got much, much closer.
Interestingly here, with the exception of Rengis continuing the split push in the top lane previously, now looking towards the bottom lane, we are seeing most of the attention of Enclave being put towards this mid lane. They really want this final outer turret, but so far the defense of Bulldog has been absolutely on point. The Baron has now spawned. Enclave does have a Mountain Dragon, has some potential to shred through it quite quickly. However, without that extra AD threat, especially with having Rengis split pushing, you can't see them going for it anytime soon.
They do have the double oceans as well, so it's kind of fine for them to sit around and try and siege onto these towers for extended periods of time. Just burn some resources down from the Bulldog squad, but if they're not able to get in and start getting some chip damage on the tower, it's really all for nothing.
Meanwhile, we do see that Rengis is continuing this push in the bot lane, constantly being met by Ego Speed, who is almost managing to match in terms of CS. Is just about 20 CS behind, but has had a really strong impact on the team. Those Call of the Forge Gods have been on point. He's managing to get assists left, right, and center. He does find Rengis dashing onto his face, but he is a really tanky boy right now. That's what Watley should have done in the last game.
Just build tank stats. It makes you hard to kill. It's really weird how it works, but it certainly seems to be working as Ego Speed barely does anything and comes out better in that trade. But again, double oceans, Rengis should be fine in just a few seconds time. I love this build from Seb, actually, with the Shirelia's Revelry on the Rakan. Just follow up on Ego Speed's long-range engage that much easier and just lock up both of these immobile mages of Beely and Kevo.
Double Oceans already secured for Enclave. They have the opportunity for double Mountain in 80 seconds time if they're able to secure themselves their 4th uncontested Drake of the game. However, you've got to feel like Bulldog really need to start putting some pressure on these neutral objectives.
Go speed.
He's finding himself. Rengis yet again dashing through, but despite proccing Vitals, Ego Speed still not losing massive chunks of his health. Rengis doing a pretty good job of the split push. However, the counter push from Ego Speed has been good so far. It just feels, however, that he needs to be with his team to get those key engages. The quickness needs to be followed up with a Call to the Forge God, or vice versa, for the Bulldog Esports team to really look like they've got the engage they want.
Seems like they're just happy just to sit back and defend their mid tower now, because Enclave is still just pumping so many resources into this mid lane. And that turret hasn't lost any health for about 6 minutes. It's just been sat at the same level. Yike has snuck his way into the bush. Don't think that ball should give him the vision.
Seb looks for the quickness, manages to get the charm onto 2. That's going to be Beely and Raisin. The flash forced Rousey already there due to the sleepy trouble bubble. Akabani goes golden, but Gold's already managed to kill off Beely. That's the Orianna dead. That's the Nautilus dead. That's the Lee Sin dead. That's Kavo running for the hills on the Syndra. Going to get found out by Eternity. Yet again, Rengis not in the fight. Does decide to join the team later. Call to the Forge God is now going to be challenged. Is going to catch onto Kavo, except he manages to flash himself away. But Rengis might have dashed into trouble. Seb and Yike perhaps looking for more. It's going to be Rengis who does get caught out by the sleepy trouble bubble. He does not have himself a cleanse, despite the nice cap of the week from Kavo. It's going to be Rengis who's burning down. One more hit from Seb could do it, but no, he escapes under the turret. Rengis lives, but 3 members of his team do not.
Man, you know how Rengis lived? Because his Klepto proc gave him a mini red pot, and he popped that for that extra bit of health right at the end. That is nasty, but this cheeky, sneaky play from Yike. Making good use of the vision control they had. They knew that there was a ward there, but it was deactivated from the control ward. It was a nice scatter the week from Kevo and a good shockwave from Beely, but again, the stats just aren't there to back it up right now.
But what did Bulldog gain from that? 3 kills, some extra gold, yes, but they weren't able to take an objective. They still haven't got their first turret. They didn't turn towards that Mountain Dragon that could be the second for Enclave. However, another fight is a-brewing. We can see already that the Mountain Dragon has been started up. Enclave are going to find Eternity dashing into the pit, trying to get a Sleepy Trouble bubble down. The shockwave is good, catches onto both Gold, onto Seb, and they are both quite low as Gold is running himself away from the fight. Dragon is down to 3,000 health. Raisins is pretty low, as is Kavo. This is going to be Yike trying to get himself into the pit, but he's not going to get there in time. Mountain Dragon secured. Enclave run away. They get the objective. They get out.
The team fight tools weren't particularly there off cooldown for Bulldog in that one. Seb did get the quickness back up and popped it, but no Call of the Forge God. No Feather Storm either from Gould, so it didn't feel particularly safe just to overcommit to try and take that fight. There will be a 4th Elemental Drake going over to Enclave. We'll see the spawn of a 5th as well, but finally, the stalemate in the mid lane will be finally come to an end. Gould, oh, Featherstorm came back off cooldown.
So nearly caught out by the dredge
needed.
line. So very, very close. Meanwhile, Rengis continues the split push. This is Ego Speed's life now, forever dueling against Rengis, trying not to lose too much of his health. This is going to be Call of the Forge God being used. Rakan is hovering around as well. That's going to be a nice use of the riposte coming in from Rengis, but here comes Seb. He dashes in, manages to use, does not use the quickness, doesn't get the knock-up. Rengis dashing away has also got a teleport joining him. That's going to be Beely who's coming into the party. However, that teleport not going to be used at all, apart from perhaps to keep Rengis alive.
It's crazy how Rengis is initiating these fights on Ego Speed and just it's like hitting himself. He's taking damage from the Sunfire Cape, from the Thornmail bit. Well. Like everything is just Ego Speed just really doesn't have to do that much.
Raisins was just a hook away there from being caught out, managing to get to safety. Now the flash forward. Ego Speed wants this fight. He does find the riposte going to manage to land the stun. Ego Speed does not have the Call of the Forge God available. Not too sure how far he can chase Rengis here, but at least he's going to chase him away from the turret.
We did just see how quickly Rengis is able to knock down these towers. He's been left just for a few seconds, and well, that tower is not looking healthy anymore. So Ego Speed's desperate attempts at trying to hold on.
And this is very much my concern for Bulldog, the fact that we said it right at the beginning, that is this massive split pushing potential coming out of Fiora, being allowed to do exactly what they want to, and eventually, at some point, that defense surely is going to fall apart, and that's when the turrets come through. However, on the other side, Bulldog are finally getting to a point where they might be picking up some items that can be boosted by the orb.
Yeah, we've already got the Molten Edge onto Xayah, so huge team fight presence right there. And now this turret has gone down. Ego Speed Not loving this one.
No, he's completely caught out. Dashing forward, pools of health raining down onto Rengus' head, keeping himself completely healthy, taking down a turret, winning the fight on the back of it as well. Kevo goes golden and manages to just about avoid that cast coming in, but Gould manages to get the final bit of damage. Raisins doesn't manage to land a dredge line to the wall and will be the second to fall as well. However, while this is all going down, Fiora's managed to take down an inhibitor turret. There are 4 members chasing down onto Billy and Akabane. However, they need to recall, they need to deal with the Fiora, and they're going to be too late to save the inhibitor.
Once Enclave, they lose the team fight, but they actually get something out of it. It will just be Rengus in the bottom lane. He's taking an inhib. He's on Nexus turrets.
He is onto a Nexus turret, and there is no Baron being started up. Eternity's going to arrive just in time to watch the turret fall. One Nexus turret down, and that's what Fiora does now.
Yeah, guys, your base? Please don't give us a repeat of yesterday. Thankfully, Bulldog has only got one turret.
To give us a repeat of yesterday, you then need to start taking some turrets, I think.
Yeah, but man, it's worrying that Rengus is able to get that far into the base, and Bulldog were still just sitting around the Baron pit. They were chasing down onto some members, and only when wait a minute, that guy's we should deal with that.
Yeah, you're too late.
Took him a while.
Very, very late, unfortunately. And Eternity not even able to stop that Nexus turret from falling. All that now needs to happen is we actually see Rengus looking like he's going to walk towards the bottom half of the map. I was kind of expecting to see the top half. However, if you're walking in those super minions as well, it's going to be that little bit harder for Ego Speed to clear things out with the Ornn. Perhaps even we're going to see that final Nexus turret fall. It's very much the Rengus show at the moment.
Yeah, because every time Enclave is losing out on the 4v4 team fights, when it's not got Ego Speed to start them off, but now finally Rengus has hit the point where he can actually start winning out in the solo lanes.
Oh, I love this path that Rengus has taken here, dodging the vision for so long, but now being collapsed on, meaning that Seb is going to be there, forcing the dash out of Rengus. Ego Speed just going to zone this Fiora away for a little while longer. There's potential engage coming in as we do see a dredge line catching on to gold. He's going to use the Featherstorm, going to pull them back. Kevo goes gold and managing to stay alive, but not the same for Akabane, who's already going down, as Gould is going to be dead. It's going to be another 2 kills being picked up. The question is, what's Fiora doing on the back of all this? Already 3 kills now, as Raisins will be that one that is the third. There's only Beely, there's only Rengus alive. However, Rengus is in the base of Bulldog Esports. Ego Speed is alive this time, however, to try and deal with it. The super minions are coming in. There are 2 supers here. Rengus is going to step away. Baron is almost certain to be secured. Beely must pull off the most masterful Power of Evil style shockwave to steal this one away, and it doesn't look good right now for Bulldog.
How quickly can they take this down? Because if they're able to pick it up while there's still minions around, it might be enough, but Rengus!
The lunge reset is enough for Rengus to take down the final Nexus turret, and is now turned damage onto the Nexus.
She stole the Baron as well!
The shockwave is there, Power of Evil is incorporated in Beely, who takes the Baron. Rengus takes the Nexus turret, puts damage down onto the Nexus as well, and things went from bad to worse for Bulldog.
Yeah, I think it might be doomed. Like, they're winning every fight, but Rengus is just not involved in them. And he was pushing in without the Baron buff. What? Like, there's no Nexus towers left. He's just going to walk in the base and 3-shot this Nexus. He has teleport as well. There's a ward placed. Somebody needs to be on permanent defensive duty, and at this point, it might even need to be 2.
Here we go. This is your Power of Evil, godlike shockwave from Beely.
He couldn't have even gone to try and pop it out with the... Did he really? Wow.
And flashes out.
He blast coned in. That Baron was at 500 health for the longest time. Nobody hit it.
This is the key moment now. We still have that ward available for Rengus TP in if they want. This is the Call of the Gorge God being issued. This is 5 versus 4 going down in the top lane, but the teleport has already come in.
Teleport on the Nexus.
We can see Fiora is looking to end the game while this fight ensues, and it is going to be game over. That is going to be Enclave taking a 1-0 lead in this series up against Bulldog.
I mean, it's a backdoor. It's not a base race. It's a backdoor, but it's still slight remnants of day number 1. But Rengus, this time it was all just the one guy because his team was losing every fight. But new Fiora, this is why you don't blind pick it in the mid lane, because when it's in a matchup where it can do anything, like not into Cassiopeia, start getting those items, start taking over the side lane, just solo taking down inhibitor turrets, inhibitors, Nexus turrets, and then eventually the Nexus in this game.
I mean, Rengus was phenomenal there, but I've only just picked my jaw back up off the floor after watching that steal coming in from Beely. We talked about the Ego Speed
Man.
Beely rivalry. I'll tell you who came out
I can't believe
on top out the back
I
of
can't
that
believe he
one.
blast coned over. That's nasty, man. Like
right.
he could have just the fact that he had the Banshee's Veil as well, so there was no way that Gragas could have potentially just body slammed him away, but he didn't care. He just pops over the wall.
You talked about the ward that was
Crazy.
available. There it was with just a few seconds available. The teleport comes in, and this game was
See how quick
Rengis'.
this goes down.
3, 4, 5,
Okay,
reset,
so
6.
little
It's a fair few hits.
A little bit
but
more than a 3-shot, but
it's
definitely
not even a contest.
for a single member of a team to take down the Nexus like that. Can't believe nobody noticed the first time that he dropped the ward and nobody cleared it out. Nobody dropped a pink ward just in case. Rengis is a cheeky one, man.
Rengis was a cheeky one all game long. It seemed like Ego Speed had done a decent job of dealing with the Fiora. However, for the just couple of brief moments where either he stepped away just as a recall or to join his team for a fight, you saw how Rengis just ripped through the base. And I'm going to call it now a Fiora ban in game 2.
Yeah, it could definitely be on the cards for Bulldog because, I mean, you look at anything else on Enclave's comp, there wasn't really anything that was going wrong. Like, your bottom lane was struggling slightly in the early game against the Syndra Nautilus, but Gould was looking so good in those team fights. He had an incredible scoreline. It was like 6-1. So the fights weren't an issue. It was just you can't deal with that Fiora in the side lanes if it's in the game. So if they banned that out, I have no doubt, actually, that should have been a Bulldog win.
Alrighty, well, Bulldog will look to bounce back in game 2 of this best of 3 series. If they don't manage to do that, it'll be our last game for tonight's stream, and what a disappointment that would be. So let's see if Ego Speed and the rest of his team can actually turn the tide up against Enclave, who are now 1-0 after that phenomenal performance from Rengis and that incredible Baron Steel coming out of
Will they be
Melee.
able to complete the clean sweep for UKLC teams in round 1?
Potential to not drop a
Forge of
single game.
Champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Find out after this short break.